That is a classic track from Mercy Me. I can only imagine. In fact, that song is so old. I think Bob McCoskrie was playing it on the radio when he was breakfast announcer here many years ago. Bob,
Yes, I was.
bringing back those memories. Hey, thanks for joining us on the program today. Appreciate the work that you do at Family First. And it seems to be a change of public opinion when it comes to young people and social media. In fact, some strong results from a recent poll.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. We've had this discussion about whether young people should be on social media, whether the social media companies are targeting young people to be addicted to it, to get into the scrolling and then targeting them with negative messaging.
Yep.
And I think there is concern about TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I mean, Instagram actually took some action and actually removed you being able to view the number of likes so that you sort of didn't get all excited by building up the number of likes and posting stuff that wasn't good, but it got lots of likes. So there's been this discussion now. We've been talking about it for a few years, actually. We actually did a petition to Parliament about pornography online. And under the last government, about 4 years ago, we put up some legislation which could be used. The Labour and Greens were the ones who kicked it for touch, actually. It was one of the New Zealand First MPs when they were in coalition with Labour. That's how long ago it was, when Jacinda Ardern was Prime Minister. And so they kicked it for touch. But look, we've been asking the question just about should there be more expectations on the social media companies, and should the law help support parents in this whole area, because it's a free-for-all at the moment. It's the Wild West.
Yep.
So we simply asked, would you support or oppose a law that bans children from all social media until they reach 16 years of age? Now, we asked this same time last year.
Yep.
Same company, so same polling method. So look, no polling company is perfect, but at least you get some consistency. Last year, 45% were opposed to a ban.
Oh.
And only 39% supported it. We asked it again just a week ago or 2 weeks ago and flipped. 56% supported the ban and 26% opposed.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting, though, is that those with dependent children, so those living at home and still at school theoretically, and on the whole, is they were 2/3. 2 out of 3 parents supported a ban. So I think sort of understood that the state coming behind and saying that it's illegal under 16 gives them a bit more power when they're saying, actually, no, you can't have the smartphone just yet, or no, you can't go on TikTok just yet.
Yep.
And that's what Jonathan Haidt talked about. It was about that community response and the fact that there's kind of this, well, my friends have all got a smartphone. My friends are all on social media. I have to meet them there. And so there's that challenge. The other interesting thing, Andrew, is just that when you compare the two polls, net support for a ban, national voters were actually against a ban, but now they're for it. Maybe it's because their party has proposed it.
Yeah.
But before you run away on that theory, Labour and Green voters also, their support rose for it as well. So, it's really only ACT supporters that may be against it, the Libertarian coming through. But it was an interesting poll, and it's interesting how public discourse has changed the acceptance. Maybe it's people are starting to understand the urgency a little bit more. I think as we're starting to get the whistleblowers saying about how Facebook and
people
TikTok
are seeing the consequences. The birds are coming home to roost in terms of the impact it's having on our young people. But I suppose in some ways that's good news that at least the public seem to be waking up for that, and hopefully the politicians will catch up in that regard. I've got to ask the question, though, will it actually work? It's like trying to stuff the genie back into the bottle. I know they've tried this across the Tasman in Australia. Is it working for the Aussies, Bob?
Well, the Aussies are only just getting into it, and they're trying to establish the ground rules. Actually, on Family Matters, my colleague Simon O'Connor has just done an interview with a group from the US called the Online Childhood Alliance. And there are some states like Utah, Florida, and a few others that have been looking at age verification, but they've also been looking at restricting the ability of young people to download the apps from the App Store without proof of age. So that's kind of at a higher level than just banning it altogether. So, Yeah, I know people say that, do we have the technology to do it? If the technology is smart enough to target our kids in the first place,
Yeah.
and if the technology is smart enough to know that if we suddenly talk about a holiday in Hawaii, Andrew, that we'll suddenly start getting pop-up ads advertising Waikiki,
Yeah.
then I think that if we need to say to social media companies, you have a responsibility and we're putting it on you. And in fact, Andrew, there was a very good story. The EU is going after Pornhub because Pornhub has been lax on their age verification,
Okay.
and that's against the law in the EU. So, look, I just think it's putting it has been the Wild West for social media companies. They have got away with blue murder.
Yeah.
It's time we held them to account.
Certainly interested to watch this space, and as you say, there's things happening in different parts of the world. Maybe we can pool our resources and our technology and get a better result that our young people deserve. Before I go any further, lax of me for not saying talofa already. It is Samoan Language Week, of course, but it is also there's another week that is being promulgated in our high schools. Propagated, exactly. Both of those in our high schools this week, and it's a different type of culture they're promoting.
Yeah, it's the Pride Week. It's the Inside Out's Pride Week. Inside Out is the group that's put in the radical RSE, relationship, sexuality, education in schools. And so they, after your Pink Shirt Day, which they've managed to commandeer and turn into just certain forms of anti-bullying, which I think we've discussed before.
Yep.
Actually, it's racial bullying that is by far the most prevalent. But this week is Pride Week, but it's also Samoan Language Week. So, look, I did a little Substack, and there is a recent blog that you can see on our website. And I simply asked parents, what would you prefer your kids to learn? Samoan greetings like talofa lava, whawhatai, tofa soifua, which is goodbye and thank you.
Yep.
Or do you want your kids to learn things like pansexual, transsexual, cisnormativity, piphobia, bisexual? I'm having trouble even saying them. Try spelling them. But yeah, it's one thing that is interesting, Andrew, is that since we've sort of been challenging just how radical this agenda is, and just at the young age that it's being targeted, the types of books and material and the language that they're targeting at primary and intermediate, there has been a drop-off of schools actually signing up to be part of this week.
I was going to say there is some good news on the horizon here, and I suppose parents get to have a say in this one. I mean, some people would say, well, you could do both a Rainbow Week and a Samoan Language Week. Why not both? Some would say, but parents do get to have a say on this, and it seems that numbers are dropping in terms of the schools engaging with the program.
Yep, 2 years ago there was about 300 schools, 250 last year. It dropped, and now it's dropped to 200, according to the New Zealand Herald yesterday.
Okay.
And that is just 8% of schools. So 92%.
In 5 years there'll be none, according to that trajectory.
According to that trajectory, maybe just the hardcore ones.
Yeah.
But look, that's 92% of schools that want to educate, not indoctrinate. And look, I think that's a good trend, and I think it's just the realization that kids come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all family values, and let's just get on with dealing with all bullying, and let's not start ramming down radical sexuality and gender confusion ideology at a very young age. And I think most parents are on board with that.
And now, honestly, it's the time of the year. There's a lot of rainbows around, but I prefer the ones in the sky than the ones being talked
God's
about
ones.
now. Yeah, exactly. Bob, thank you for the work that you do, and thank you also for the research and the articles and the good work that you do in the space. Of course, people can find out more. They can connect to the Substack and the McBlog and all that good stuff through the Focus on the Family website. Kia ora, talofa.
Family First. Focus on the Family is another very good organisation. The Family First.
Families first. I'll get that one right. I was working on my whawhatai lava and I got confused. Thank you for pointing that out. Family First. Whawhatai. Thanks, Bob. Thanks. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.